Well, I'm just delighted to have the opportunity here to talk with my friend Pau, who has been quite, I think, an insightful and inspiring voice in thinking through how we can all have the greatest impact possible on the communities that we serve and have a lasting legacy that lives beyond what you already rock at. You've already been such a huge contributor to your support for your country, for your teams. And now you're really paying it forward in ways and being able to have impact on communities that you care about. And that is really, I think, inspiring for people who follow you and try to think about what's next. And think about the career that you have, your profession, and how you go about making that choice to invest your time in other ways. Maybe, how we could start there, if you don't mind. First off, thank you for being part of our LPR 50. It's been great to see you. I think we spent at least 18 weeks together talking about how many goals that I missed or achieved. And we were all sharing our ups and downs of life. And so thank you for joining us here at Stanford.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Mark. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. You and Marshall have been fantastic in giving us, so many of us, the opportunity to be a part of such a unique group, sharing struggles, shortcomings, successes, but having that sense of community, especially during this time that we're going through, which has been so challenging. So it's been very much needed and very much appreciated. It's made a big difference, and a lot of great relationships and friendships have happened and come along because of it. So thank you, Mark, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
I'm thinking how surprising it was for me having the privilege of working with CEOs, business builders, entrepreneurs, and many of whom are athletes and other celebrities who have made a pivot into building either businesses and or also having impact through foundations and community and so forth. Everyone that we have the opportunity with, that we're blessed with, in the communities that we have, Pau, are people who are high achievers and high impact. And yet here with our weekly gathering, I found that the hardest thing it was for me to do, and then I was surprised to hear it from other high achievers, was to kind of set the goals for the day. Could I actually get an agenda in place for myself? Not because I didn't know what to do, but maybe because I have an embarrassment of too many things to do. Could you talk a little bit about how you think about attacking the day and getting in the game in the many different hats that you wear as you get the day started?
What I like to do is start with some quiet time at the beginning of the day, so I can go and get my thoughts in place to have and achieve everything that I want to achieve during the day. So I like to start with some reading and nurture myself. But during that time also, I like to have my coffee. I just want to update, make sure that I prepare myself and I put myself in a good place to have the best day possible. And in order to achieve big goals and the long-term goals, you do have to focus on the present, on what you can do today in order to get better, in order to get a little closer to those big goals. So that's kind of what I try to do, and go at it. Give it my best, to really do what I can and do my part in order to, again, at the end of the day, go to bed feeling like I did what I've kind of put my head and mind to do, and move on to the next one.
When you think about the goals that you've set, you've achieved so much, spending time both in the forums of the world, like the Olympics, as well as being a professional player. When you think about the setbacks that you inevitably have throughout a game in real time on the court, could you talk a little bit about how you address that? Because there's a lot of discussion about grit and persistence and consistency. And one of the things that always inspires me about people who do what you do is that you have to stay in the game once you're in the game, even when you mess up. Could you talk a little bit about how you address that for yourself and your teammates?
Yeah. Well, it's all about preparation. It all comes from the daily practice that you put in, all the work that you have put in before that moment. That prepares you to be able to deal with those struggles, those mistakes, those whatever happens or comes up during a game, that you have prepared for. and in and if you are in better shape, you can be mentally fresher because you're not fatigued, let's say, and you feel like strong and you can make quicker decisions and smarter and sharper decisions during those times. If you have done the work as far as working on your shots, on your positioning, on the game plan, then that puts you ahead of the competition and better equipped in order to make better decisions during game time. And then also the fact that you can visualize. You can visualize situations. Hey, I've been here. I've done this. I got this kind of thing. And also understand that sports, it's a game, and it's activity where mistakes happen, right? Mistakes that you can make, but also your teammates can make. The referees and officials can make mistakes. They're out of your control. But how you react to them, that's what's up to you. So you have to be all those factors play a big role, and you can prepare for them before you're actually in the game. And then once you're in the game, you just stay poised, you stay locked in, you stay in the zone in order to navigate those pressures, those stress levels, and to really act with conviction and confidence.
I'm thinking about how you've talked about when you rehearse or when you're visualizing the various scenarios that could happen. Often in organizations and business, we always think about how planning works. Plans don't work out as we expected, but the planning process works because it allows you to think about various scenarios. Is that what you're really going through when you go through this visualization? Is the different approaches to different types of strategies that unfold tactically on the court?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, you prepare what's your game plan, but also you got to prepare for what the opponent will do. And then for specific situations and that's what you coaches do also for teams, like last few seconds left in the shot clock, or there's coaches that you say, hey, you're down 8, there's 2 minutes left in the game. How do you get yourself back in it? How do you give yourself a chance to win? What do you run? And those are like real game time situations that you can prepare yourself for, whether it's during a practice with your teammates or whether it's also mentally, and that's something that you can do on your own. And then watching tape of previous games, facing that team, that player. Again, it's all about preparation, and I think once you go through enough games and you say, hey, I didn't think of that. Oh, I didn't prepare for that. Oh, this guy or myself, I did something that I wasn't aware of. Or then it just pushes you to continue to be more aware of every potential scenario. And there's always something that you're going to miss. But if you prepared more than your opponent, you have a better chance. That's what it comes down to. And putting in that work, there's no really substitute for putting in that amount of work in order to be successful at the moment of truth.
That sense of audacity to think that you can be the best, and also the humility to know that the only way that happens is to actually be able to harvest wherever you've missed by doing the debrief, by doing the rehearsal. I guess that's why they call it a practice. No matter where you are in your field or profession, you're always practicing and really versioning.
Yeah, and you always learn. You always learn because you're gonna make mistakes, and you're not always gonna win, no matter how good you are, because the competition is also talented, and they also want to win. So to constantly have that mindset of learning, understanding, you're gonna make mistakes, but don't dwell on the mistakes. Move on to the next play. The next play mentality is very important in any sport, especially like high-paced sports, where you have to no matter what happened in the play before, good or bad, you got to let it go. You got to focus on the next one. So that's also a very important factor as far as not getting down on yourself or compounding mistakes. It's just the ability to let go in the moment in order to move on to the next play and give it your best on your next shot, and hey, I'm making my next shot. I'm not going to turn this ball over. I'm not going to let this guy go around me this time. I know what he's going to do because I prepared for it. So that's also part of it too, and how it's part of the preparation and working on that mindset.
I'm so shocked at hearing how often it is such a challenge to think about how we can move from shot to shot without being encumbered, but just being informed by what we learned from the last mistake or the last move or the last tactical play of our competitors or our teammates. This whole idea that came up in our weekly sessions, surprisingly, with our high achievers that you and I participated in, where people were talking about how it's hard not to take the last meeting into the next meeting. It's hard for most of us not to take that last shot missed into the next shot attempted and really be present for that moment. And you're really emphasizing that you're working in real time here. You don't have time really to lament the loss, only to learn from it.
Exactly. No, and it's not something that is going to happen for you every time, all the time. You're going to go through ups and downs. We are humans and we have other things in our lives that affect us, good and bad. So when we have a lot of noise, a lot of adversity outside of our jobs, that will affect our ability to be able to bounce back and stay focused and stay in the zone, or be distracted or be upset or be stressed. And so again, it will vary. That's why it's so important to be in tune with where you are and knowing that, hey, I'm going to struggle for a little more than I usually do because this and this and this is going on in my life. And I'm a human being, and I'm not a robot. We're not robots. Right. No matter how talented or gifted we are in a specific activity, we are human beings, and things do affect us, right? And they should affect us. But to be kind of aware of that, aware of where you are, and not be too hard on yourself, but at the same time, do as much as you can in order to manage it all and get through those tougher times. It's also part of it. So it's interesting because you're not going to be able to stay in that zone, like nothing affects me, nothing phases me at all. It's just not realistic. That's why you see ups and downs in performance, in careers, and so forth. But you try to get to as good of a level as possible you can, knowing that there's more to life, right? There's more to life than basketball. There's more to life than golf, tennis, soccer, or running one of the top companies in the world, right? Yeah. That only gives you so much. Life is more than that, and you have to create some type of balance.
It's a huge insight. I feel very deeply touched by the fact that when you're in a leadership role, and you often are as a person like yourself who's been so successful as an athlete professionally, you have a lot of influence on people. And that's true for the leaders of organizations, the great entrepreneurs in the big companies, as you mentioned. And one of the epiphanies that we had when we were getting together on those weekly sessions was this idea that you might have just come from a funeral and then you're going to a wedding. And we don't want to bring the funeral to the wedding. This meeting, this interaction that we're having with the people we're working with, our teammates, may be the very most important meeting of their day. And if I bring everything from the last meeting there that may be less than optimal or not focused on what our task is as a team to do together right now, then I'm part of the baggage. I need to bring that present moment to each and every moment that I'm playing. And that's what's so impressive about you talking about being able to make the next shot after the last one or the last play surprised you or didn't work out. This idea of being persistent and consistent and having the grit to do that, and think about how you integrate all the learnings into the gameplay over time, is one dimension that is, I think, the playbook for all the most successful high achievers. When do you decide to give up on a strategy or make a pivot or a change? It's another way of thinking about this, but we all talk about never giving up, but sometimes there are some things that we do have to give up. How do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think it's, again, you got to understand what works and what doesn't. Is this working for me? Is this working for the team, or is it not? And I think it's very important to know when to pivot and when to change strategy, when to adapt. For usually that comes from the coaches on a team dynamic, and to try things out. Hey, this isn't working. This lineup isn't working. This style of play isn't working. We should tweak here. We should change here. We should go bigger. We should go smaller, and kind of change and play with lineups. But in sports, it's kind of easier to do because we have wins and losses. You're winning or you're losing. So if you accumulate enough losses, something is not working well, and you need to try things out, and you need to change, and you have a conversation. Usually it's good to have an open conversation with the team, with the players. Say, hey,
Right.
let's just pick our minds, see what's going on, and come to a common solution. So everybody buys in. It's very important for team members, players to buy in, because everyone will have to fulfill their role in order for things to work out. If even if a coach thinks this is the best strategy in the world, but the players don't see it, don't believe in it, it's not going to work. So you have to be
Right.
involved and convince the players that that's the best course of action. And for players, that most of the players will have to sacrifice a little bit of their ego, a little bit of their performance, that they think, oh, I could shoot 20 shots. I could. Why can I, score 20 points a game or 30 points a game, and why does he have to do it when I can do it? Or and players that want to play more always, right? Players, like, at the end of the day, they want to play and they want to shine, because that will give besides the satisfaction, will give them better contracts, right? So at the end of the day, it's all about making understand everyone that their sacrifice is worth it. If the team wins, everybody wins, and everybody gets paid. So even if you have a small role, or even if you don't play much at all in a championship team, you're going to get opportunities just because you've been a part of a championship team and you're a champion, and you never know when your number is going to be called. So you have to stay ready, and you have to make sure, hey, if my job is to make sure that Mark Thompson goes out there and is at his best, I'm going to make sure that I challenge Mark during practice, and I'm going to do my part, making sure that Mark is ready. And if something might happen to Mark, I'll be ready. And I'm going to go at you every practice trying to get myself better, because, you're a great player. So again, we have the ability to manage and react and respond a certain way, even if we don't fully agree with it, even if we would like it to be different, because we won better, let's say. But if we buy into what the strategy has been designated or has been shared, and it translates into wins, everybody wins at the end of the day.
This is got to be a huge challenge for any all-star team, for sure, any group of people who've been recruited to be the best talent in the world, and yet bring with that not only wonderful experience and exceptional creativity, it also brings with it a very high concept of what we believe works for us. And we see this in all organizations. We work our best to bring the best people together, and then unless we get that buy-in, we're not utilizing it. We're investing, we're making the investment in the best of the best, and now we need to listen to all voices, and then somehow also get all voices to come together so that it's a great team or a great symphony. Is there any particular learning that you had that you wished you knew in the earlier days about that, about how to get kind of those big people, larger than life personalities to decide to share the ideas, but then agree and proceed, often under, I guess, the direction of a coach, right? We all have to fall in line eventually.
Yes. Well, I mean, as you're younger, you're less mature, you're less experienced, so it's important for you to listen to the veterans and to the coaches, and let them kind of tell you what the path to follow is. And the better quality of those people, probably better results you'll achieve. But to me, it's been a learning curve, just like everything else. I've been trying to absorb as much as I could from every coach, from every teammate, from every situation, try to learn from it so I can apply it wherever I went next. And that's what what going forward, what I look forward to do is kind of utilizing all the experience that I've accumulated throughout my NBA career, through my playing time with my national team, all those international championships, 4 Olympic Games, into helping other people within their journeys and within their lives and organizations to achieve great goals and to achieve significance and live as a fulfilled life as they can possibly live. So that's what excites me, because sports has been such a huge teacher and educator for me, has given me so much, and I want to make sure that I give it back, and I will always be in some shape or form affiliated with sports, and probably many in different capacities, because I've seen and I experienced first person the benefits of it, and how much good does it do, and the incredible values and qualities that you can learn and apply in other fields of your life.
Those values that you share, Pau, are inspiring to me, and I love how you've decided when you consider what's next. You've been building that for some time. That has been a real method to your creativity around paying it forward. Could you talk a little bit about how you've decided what's next? You've touched on the real core set of values that are driving the lessons that you feel that you can pay forward. How have you been thinking about the rest of that portfolio of passions that you now have the privilege to pursue?
Well, it comes down to awareness and realizing that as fun and as exciting as a professional sports career is and can be, it's very short and limited and within your lifespan. I've been so lucky and blessed to be able to play basketball at the highest level for so long. And that has just provided me with opportunities and a platform to achieve bigger and better things. And also understanding that the hard numbers, devastating numbers, that most athletes after a few years after retirement, they struggle with depression, they struggle with bankruptcy, they struggle with so much hardship after having experienced such an incredible opportunity to accumulate wealth and to live a more than comfortable life for them and their family going forward. And that's not the case in the majority of the times, unfortunately. So how can we change that? Not just for me, but for others as well. I like to see those numbers really go down, and I like to see my peers really taking advantage of opportunities that they have, having a bigger picture and being prepared and educated for what's next, because it's going to come sooner or later. For some guys, it's going to come really soon. And you don't know, because you're very young and you think you live forever and you think you'll play forever and you don't see the end of the tunnel, but it comes for everyone. I've been so fortunate again to do it for so long, so I had a little more time to kind of get myself there. But I've been working on it for years, developing relationships, understanding what I want to do going forward, exploring opportunities, talking to different people that are smarter than me, have more experience than me, that can help me as yourself in the group that we are a part of, the LPR 50 group. Just asking, asking questions, having conversations, investing in that, and really creating connections and really following my passions and what I want to do going forward. And as I said earlier, being part of the sports world is so important to me. So I'm a candidate for the Athletes Commission of the IOC, and I want to be part of the growth of the Olympic movement. I created, with my brother Marc, we created our own foundation, the Gasol Foundation, to help children and live healthier lives and fight the childhood obesity pandemic. And that's been a great journey so far. It's 7 years since we founded it. But I want to continue to be a difference maker and maximize my time on Earth as much as I can. Obviously, provide for my family, but impact others, inspire others to try to do the same in their own way. It's not going to be my way. They have to find their way and how to apply it and how to experience it. But just go out there and prepare, learn, educate yourself, connect with people, and build those relationships. I think that's very important in a very selfless way. In a very, hey, I'm here for you, and it's because when you're an athlete, people want to get close to you. You're kind of attractive. It's cool. You also have a responsibility, because a lot of kids want to be like you. You become a role model, whether you want it or not. So you're affecting people's lives without even knowing it, and how you portray and how you behave, it has an impact. So why not explore the level of impact that you can have and you want to have? I think that's important to realize.
I've learned so much from you about that process that it's really helped me think about how when we have worked a whole lifetime towards achieving in our field or our profession, we really want impact. It is also, at a certain level, somewhat self-indulgent. In other words, it's pretty sexy to have achieved that and wanting it to last forever. And it's our moonshot, and then what to do after the moonshot. And I've just been so impressed to see how, as you pointed out, it's been 7 years since you started the foundation. And was there something that kickstarted that for you? Because when you are in the flow, at the peak of that first career that we imagined, is really the greatest time to start investing in, as you said, a bigger network, a set of new opportunities, and also to realize, as you point out, something that I think leaders forget all the time, which is people are watching us under a microscope. We don't want that. We never asked for that. The truth is, however, how we behave is role modeling a certain set of behaviors. And that ends up being a certain level of accountability that comes with celebrity, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's important for celebrities and pro athletes or CEOs to realize you can't pick and choose what only just, I just want the good of it. I just want, the money and the wealth and the fame. But, I don't want to deal with the downsides. I don't want to understand or be aware of how my actions can impact others, or how I'm leading or not leading or misleading children out there or employees, the effect that I have on other people's lives, because I never asked for this. But I'm really happy with, my salary, and I'm really happy with the trips that I can take and the things that I can provide for my family. So it's just you gotta understand the full spectrum of your situation, and then and not neglect the downsides of it or the negatives. If you believe there are negatives, because it also, I think there's a huge power there of impact.
Yeah, it's an opportunity.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for sure. And why not embrace it? Why not take full advantage of it? I think once you understand, and I understood this from early in my career, that I could have a much bigger impact beyond myself. It was like, hey, and I come from a family that my mom was a doctor, my dad was a nurse. I wanted to be a doctor if basketball didn't work out. So I wanted to help people. I wanted to heal people. I think health and time are our biggest assets. Without health, we're done. And time runs out. We have an expiration date. So we gotta take care of our health, and we have to provide opportunities for people under difficult or very challenging circumstances to to have good health and have fulfilled lives. And so that's why I started working with different hospitals and being an ambassador for St. Jude for many years, being a spokesperson for Children's Hospital in LA and CHLA, and working with different pediatric hospitals throughout my career, because I could see the impact that I was having just by showing up, just by coming in a room, and just with a smile on my face, and bringing out a smile on a kid's face that is fighting a battle against cancer, and just bringing a gift. The power of just connecting, of empathy. It's so important, and then I can utilize this, and I became an ambassador for UNICEF, and I've been a Goodwill ambassador for UNICEF for 17 years. I've traveled to many countries in the world, and you see the effect that you can have, and that's really fulfilling to me. That's really powerful. That's like, my life means something more than just me having fun, or providing exclusive or privileged experiences for myself and my friends or family. So this is what really is about: helping others, helping the ones that didn't have the same opportunities that you did, making a difference, making it just a better world overall. And you see those reactions, and children are so authentic. There's no filters. They give you exactly how they feel, good and bad, and they want to be cared for, they want to be provided for, they want to be loved, they want to play. So that's to me, that's been just the most encouraging and powerful and meaningful things and experiences that I've lived throughout my life, besides obviously my own family. So yeah, just think about as an opportunity. I say this is an opportunity that I have to do something really special, and let alone the connections that you can make, with CEOs or highly achieved people that, it's cool for them also to, hey, I watched you play. My kids love you, or you're great. It's awesome. Well, let's go. Let's hang out. Let's talk about, what do you want to do? Maybe you create a personal connection. You never know. And maybe you're part of something very special, something that could be super rewarding for you in many ways going forward. And things happen organically. You just kind of put yourself out there and take advantage of those opportunities. Don't lock yourself in, because you do want to be protective, and you want to build a team around you that protects you from all the sharks. So you want to be protected from all the bad influences and people that want to take advantage of you, because you're a target and you're pretty vulnerable, because most athletes are uneducated. We're not prepared to deal with certain challenges, and that's widely known, and that's why a lot of people just try to take advantage of that. So again, you just gotta create yourself with some shields and protection, so you can kind of stop all those sharks from being close to you, by going after opportunities that you really want to go after, and you want to give a try, you want to pursue.
The best way then to build a community or a team that's supporting your efforts in what's next, in other words, a group you can trust, is to curate that through the organizations that you want to be thinking about being affiliated with, and in a sense assessing whether they're actually serving those objectives, like you did as you built your foundation, and as you did with the work you were able to so beautifully contribute with UNICEF. You were able to curate that, I guess, to find the folks that you can trust the most, because that ends up being a real challenge for people, as there are always a group of people who have an agenda around people who are celebrities. It's certainly true in my world of CEOs. Your jokes are funnier. You're getting a lot more interest in all aspects of your life, and trying to find that short list of people you can trust ends up being very critical. When you talk about the process of getting input and getting coached, how do you think we should be all thinking about getting coaching. It's something that is actually rather new and nascent in business organizations. And yet I haven't met an Olympian or a professional athlete who wouldn't have several coaches in their life. What would you give as an advice to executives who might feel that the reason they're being asked to get a coach is because they have to be fixed, which it can often be, a last ditch effort to save Marc. If we could just take him to finishing school, he might have a shot at the corner office.
Well, what I would say, it's, there's so much knowledge out there and you can always get better, and I think it never hurts to get a different perspective. So if you find someone that could help you be better, talk, get through and work out through the challenges that you might be going through, and not have to do it alone, and provide some guidance and knowledge, because maybe they've been there themselves, or they have the knowledge that they have worked with other executives and people that have gone through those challenges, and they can provide you with with wisdom and perspective. Hey, why not give it a shot? What do you have to lose? To me, it's something that you should explore, and maybe the first coach that you work with doesn't work. Maybe he or she can only help you for so long, and then you have to move on to a next person. But just have that desire of learning, and pursue of knowledge. And that's why I feel coaching, and it's so hard. I think one of the things that, as smart as some of the coaches and coachees are, and I think a great example is, like, we're not that disciplined ourselves. We can't do it on our own. We need someone to help us along the way. That's why teams have coaches, because players, as good as and as talented as they are, they cannot do it on their own. They need someone to, hey, we got to start with a warm-up. We got to, stretching is not important. Stretching is important. You got to start with here. Hey, we're going to start with this drill. We're going to start, because otherwise players would just go out there and play. And play, who knows how. But you never know. That's why you need someone to help you, guide you through those moments. And sport is a very good example of why coaching is so important. But I think it translates into any type of field, any type of professional field, or even personal field. You need guidance, you need support, and a coach provides that for you. And then you work with someone. It's a lot harder to work out and execute a workout at the gym by yourself than it is if you have a trainer telling you what to do, and making sure that you're not skipping reps and that you're not skipping exercises.
Yeah, I think we both know how to drop and do 50. It's just that I don't drop and do 50 until you get on my butt.
But if you got someone, hey, come on now, push, don't give up now. Just make sure 41, 42, I'm counting. Now you do you have someone that holds yourself accountable? I think, to me, with our coaching group, with the LPR 50 group, I have to be honest, by having those weekly calls, it forced me in a way to make sure that I fill out my sheet with my goals and my questions and my ratings. But since we haven't done it, I haven't done it.
Yes, isn't that interesting? I mean, it's what is great is it creates this sense of, you knew you were going to come hang out with us and others, and you're gonna give your checklist of what you'd accomplished. And I don't know about you, but I can only lie so many times at those meetings about what I've done or not done. And then it also creates, I think one of the things that makes it also difficult for us is that usually when you have a community that supports you, they hold you accountable on the one hand. On the other hand, they can also be so judgmental, or it can feel like you're being judged. And what we were hoping to do in those groups is to give you the accountability. In other words, give you that push to do that work on the one hand, without judging you when you miss. Because when you miss, everybody else goes, oh yeah, I screwed up at that last week too. Not that it's a good thing, but you've got good company.
No, but it's good to know that you're not alone. That people also have slides, or make mistakes, or have shortcomings, or struggle, and it's good to put that in common, like put it on the table and say, hey, I struggle too, or hey, you're not alone. But it's also like that sense of accountability, and coming in together, that you just don't have, even if you know it's good for you, hey, this is good for me, I'm enjoying this, I should do this because it keeps me focused. But if I don't have you calling me every night, or like you do with Marshall, and talking to each other's questions every day, hey, have you done your questions today? If not, if I know that you're going to call me and I have that call, I'm going to do them. But if I know that you're not going to call and I don't have to do it, even if I know it's good and it helps me, I'm not doing it. So that's why coaching is, again, I think it's so important and such a difference maker.
So you're going to come then. I'm going to invite you to our weekly sessions again, and we're going to get each other's jump started again, because I've been screwing off as well.
Yeah, no, I'm in because I absolutely recognize the importance of it and the value of it, and it's just a way to hold myself accountable and to get it done.
That's wonderful. Do you remember a time that you felt you got that extra shove to do the pay it forward work around the foundation? You said you grew up thinking, you might be a doctor or you might be an athlete, and with the lights brightly shining on you, building your capacity as an athlete and your career, you still came to the conclusion, which is so hard for people to carve out that time to think about the future, or think about that there might be other opportunities that make even a bigger impact on the world than what I'm doing right now. Was there a moment that you came to that, or was there something that happened, or was it something that was incubated for a long time before you started to invest in these new areas of interest?
Well, it was something that happened over time throughout my work with UNICEF and working with such a huge organization in the UN. Because as wide and as strong and powerful as it is, it also has its limitations as far as how much you can do because of different policies and restrictions that the UN has to live by and protocols. So I said, hey, I want to do something that I have a little more autonomy and liberty to implement exactly what I want to implement. And then I wanted to do something with my brother. So I didn't want to make it about me, but I wanted to make it about our family and beyond, which I'm trying to build an ambassador program with athletes that are ambassadors of our foundation, and they can be involved in the programs in their communities, and they can take ownership of empowering and embracing our programs, helping the children in their communities. So again, this is you build something that is beyond you, right? And that's what I wanted to do. And then the fact also that made me want to start our foundation and focus on childhood obesity was that I first heard around 2012, 2012, I think it was, that children for the first time in history were going to live shorter than their parents. Their life expectancy was going to be short. And why was that? Why would that happen? Because of our habits, because of our health. The habits of our children today are worse than they were before. The environment has worsened in order of the effect that it has on our health and our life length. So we got to change this. We got to do something about this. And that's when it kind of triggered me to put it together and to start it off.
Well, you, as you mentioned earlier, are a person like so many who've achieved, are watched closely for the impact and the practices that you employ. And I love how you don't have a lecture to give, you have a practice to share. You live your life in a way that others can role model and they can see. And I'd rather be shown than told. And that's how you live your life, Pau. So we're just grateful for your friendship and your partnership and the impact that you're having around the world. And I want you to know, if there's anything we can do as a group of geeky executives and CEOs to support your mission to pay it forward, hell, I'm learning from you every day. So I'm so grateful.
Thank you, Mark. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for your friendship, for your guidance, for your knowledge, for your mission as well. So that's why I feel like we're always going to be able to help each other out and add to each other's lives and purposes and ways to pay it forward. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Pau. Appreciate your time today.